Amid heavy exchange of attacks between the two neighboring countries, delegations from Russia and Ukraine are expected to hold talks in Belarus on Thursday. This will be the second round of face-to-face discussions since the Russian attack. Russian troops seized control of Kherson, making it the first major city in Ukraine to be taken by Moscow as it continued to be waging its war on Kyiv for an 8th straight day. Ukraine confirms Russian forces now in control of Kherson and imposed a curfew on residents. India abstains from voting during emergency session on resolution deploring Russia's aggression against Ukraine in United Nations General Assembly. The third abstention by India on resolutions on the escalating crisis between Moscow and Kyiv. Ending long-standing demand for a separate district by the Yimkyung tribe Shamator district headquarters inauguration to take place on Friday. Chief Minister Nipyu Rio to grace the program as the special guest. Inaugural program of the Cardiac Care Center at Christian Institute of Health Science and Research held on Thursday with Chief Minister Nipyu Rio as the special guest. The Cardiac Center unit to provide angiogram and angioplasty, pacemaker support and other facilities. Uttar Pradesh records 53.31% voter turnout till 5 p.m. as the sixth and second last phase of the 2022 Assembly election ends at 6 p.m. 57 seats in eastern UP spread across 10 districts went to poll on Thursday. Greetings viewers of Nagaland TV, I'm Rinki Gogoi and welcome to NLTV Primetime News. Let's see more of the news in details. As the Russian invasion of Ukraine entered day 8, it is turning out as another eventful day. Amid heavy exchange of assaults between the two neighboring countries, delegations from Russia and Ukraine are expected to hold talks in Belarus on Thursday. This will be the second round of face-to-face discussions since the Russian attack. A Ukrainian delegation is en route for a second round of ceasefire talks with Russia on the Belarus-Poland border. Russian forces have already taken control of Kherson city as the Ukrainian delegation departed for a second round of talks with Russia on Thursday, with presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolyak as a leader. Hopes are pinned up on Russia's former culture minister Vladimir Medinsky, who is leading the negotiations between the two countries. Medinsky is head of the Russian delegation that is meeting the Ukrainian counterparts for the talks. Earlier in a video address to the nation on Thursday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on Ukrainians to keep up their resistance. His comments come as Russia acknowledged for the first time since the start of the invasion that nearly 500 Russian troops have been killed in the fighting and around 1,600 wounded. Ukraine State Emergency Service has said that more than 2,000 civilians have died. The UN Human Rights Office said it had recorded the deaths of 136 civilians, including 13 children in Ukraine, since the start of the invasion on February 24. In another development, French President Emmanuel Macron held a new 90-minute phone call with Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin on Thursday over the war crisis. This is the third conversation between the two leaders since the invasion of Ukraine. Ukraine and Russia to hold a new round of peace talks, according to Vladimir Medinsky, assistant to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The second round of negotiation is scheduled to take place on Thursday, March 3 in Belarus. close to the Polish border. Notably, the Russian delegations are already arriving at Beloveshkaya Pushcha, where talks are planned to take place. The Russian delegation's leader, Vladimir Medinsky, announced upon their arrival and stated that they are expecting their Ukrainian counterparts to reach soon. As many as 1 million refugees have left Ukraine in the 7 days since the beginning of Russia's military operation. UNHCR High Commissioner Filippo Grandi, taking to Twitter handle, said that in just 7 days they have witnessed 1 million refugees from Ukraine evacuated to the neighboring countries. He further stated that it's time for guns to fall silent so that life-saving humanitarian assistance can be provided for millions of people inside Ukraine. Notably, it has been 8 days since Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered military operations in Donbas region of Ukraine after he recognized the independence of Ukraine's breakaway regions Donetsk and Luhansk. Meanwhile, in a voting at the UN General Assembly on Wednesday, 141 nations condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine, while 5 nations supported Russia, with 35 countries abstaining to vote. India on Wednesday abstained on a General Assembly resolution deploring Russia's aggression against Ukraine. This is the third abstention by India on resolutions on the escalating crisis between Moscow and Kiev. The 193-member General Assembly voted to reaffirm its commitment to the sovereignty, independence, and unity and territorial integrity of Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders. The resolution was adopted with 141 votes in favor, 5 member states voting against, and 35 abstentions. The resolution condemns Russia's readiness of its nuclear forces and calls them to abide by its international obligations. The resolution has urged for immediate peaceful resolution through political dialogue. Negotiations, meditations, and other peaceful means were also welcomed. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin on March 2 on phone over the ongoing Ukraine crisis instilled by Russia. According to the reports, the two leaders reviewed the situation in Ukraine, especially in Kharkiv. Notably, many Indian students were stuck in Kharkiv. Therefore, the two leaders discussed about the safe evacuation of Indians from conflict areas. Russia's invasion of Ukraine prompted the director of the Gravin Museum in Paris to remove the wax statue of the Russian President Vladimir Putin. This comes a week after Russia began invading Ukraine on February 24. The director stated that they have never represented dictators like Hitler in the Gravin Museum and they don't want to represent Putin. Director of the museum said that Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky might be a contender for the spot in the museum. Putin's statue, which was created in 2000, was moved to a warehouse until further notice. Students out of 230 students of 3 northeastern states Assam, Tripura and Meghalaya, who were stranded in the war-ravaged Ukraine, have returned to India so far. Assam Chief Secretary Jishnu Borua has directed the district administrations to reach out to the parents of students stranded in Ukraine. Meanwhile, an official in Guwahati said that the Assam government so far prepared a list of 160 such students, and the process of evacuating them has been going on in coordination with the External Affairs Ministry. The government is trying to bring back Indians stranded in war-torn Ukraine by asking them to cross into neighboring countries from where they are by flying back in special aircraft to the country. Four C-17 aircraft of the Indian Air Force with approximately 800 evacuees from Ukraine landed at the Hindon Air Base on Thursday. India has been evacuating its citizens through special flights from Ukraine's western neighbors such as Romania, Hungary and Poland, as the Ukrainian airspace has been shut since February 24 due to the Russian military offensive. According to sources, the IAF planes are also coming from these neighboring countries only. The aircrafts landed at 8 a.m. on Thursday, and the Minister of State for Defense Ajay Bhatt received the Indian evacuees at the airbase. Amid heavy fighting around Kharkiv, India on Wednesday asked all its citizens stranded in the city to leave immediately for 3 safe zones that are in the range of up to 16 kilometers from there. Meanwhile, the embassy asked Indians to proceed to Pisochin, Babai and Bejul Yedivka even by foot if they cannot find vehicles or buses. The Yimkyum tribe of Nagaland will celebrate its full-fledged district inauguration on 4th March 2022. Notably, the state government has approved the long-standing demand for a separate district by the Yimkyum tribe on 19th January 2022. Meanwhile, the state chief minister Rio will grace the program as a special guest and will inaugurate the new district of Nagaland. The YTC president Trongso also thanked the Nipu Rio and his cabinet colleagues for declaring Shamator a full-fledged district. Furthermore, as Kyosu Advisor Information and Public Relations and Village Guard Nagaland will host the inaugural program.
Since 1982, Amikan problem do thakigena aise. To Amikan idu Amikan Yimkyum tribe to 6 dialect ase. To out of 6 dialect te 1 dialect Amikan dikir idu dialect to alak kurobo kana idu chakra kurina idu aise. To Amikan dakhangi murum nukura laga gotha no hoy. Amikan ekdam murum ase. Kile murum in the sense Amikan igi logo milagena ekdam takat pra thaki bole mun huabra idu ajitak tanigen aha laga se. Idu berde Amikan same ancestral history ase. Culture be कोइसे गले तो अमिकान एकदम मिली क्या ना से और बस्तिकता दे गोगाय थगिले बस्तिकता दे फाय आसे बस्तिकता दे फुनी थगिले बस्तिकता दे दीदी आसे किदिया क्लान ऐसा दे बिसारे जब सब खर मानो आसे इनएलिजिबल छरा छरी गुरुले न पारा लगा एकता अमिकान पोजीशन एकता थगाब्रा इतुब्रा अमिकान में किनका यस नगुरी किनका अमिकान मिली क्या ना थगिले फाला होना के कोना इजा तक तनी के ना से इदु आदम दे दखाम बे Bishimon Chukum Hogana Takibo, Kibi Hogana Takibo Holibe, Amikan as a tribe, Amikan Imkyum Gamani to Idgo Indichin Biado Tagana, Toaji, Dia State Carbon by Idugidia, Shamuro District Laga.
An inaugural program of the Cardiac Care Center at the Christian Institute of Health Science and Research was held on Thursday with the Chief Minister Nipu Rio as a special guest. Notably, the Cardiac Care Unit will provide angiogram and angioplasty, pacemaker support, 2D and 4D echo, transesophageal echo, EPIC G7C cardiac stress testing, and 24 and 48 hours Holter monitoring.
trying our best to start the medical college in Kohima, but we're still struggling, and the infrastructure's development is okay, but the management of the hospital and the specialists, super specialists, the scientists and other specialist people to work in our place. We wonder how it will be. Already the hospital is taking care of a lot of people and adding these facilities. I want to congratulate the CISSR for your initiative which you shared with me, as you mentioned, in 2019. And in short time, we have sent a proposal to
The church bodies in Nagaland called for implementing the Nagaland Liquor Total Prohibition Act 1989 in letter and spirit, while the Nagaland Pradesh Congress Committee opposed its lifting in the backdrop. The Committee on NLTP 1989 held a consultative meeting with the stakeholders to study the issues relating to the implementation of the Act with the various stakeholders in Kohima recently. At the meeting, advisor to Excise to Department Jaleo Rio said that the state government has not taken any decision to lift the NLTP Act 1989 and that the meeting was being held to discuss and know the stand of the stakeholders in the state. The Pom Baptist Christian Association and Christian Forum Dimapur have appealed to the government to strictly implement the Act. Describing the NLTP Act as a spiritual law, the Pom Baptist Christian Association said the spiritual law is always virtuous for the Christians. A consultative meeting to discuss on Nagaland Liquor Total Prohibition Act 1989, ULB elections of SPA and Naga peace process has been convened on March 9 by the Home Commissioner of Nagaland, Abhijit Sinha. The Commissioner has issued a press notification on March 2 calling the Legislative Assembly, church bodies, Eastern Nagaland People's Organization, Central Nagaland Tribes Council, Tenieme People's Organization, Naga Students Federation, Eastern Nagaland Students Federation, Naga Mothers Association and Eastern Nagaland Women Organizations to participate in the consultative meeting on March 9. Notably, the meeting will be held at the Chief Minister's residential complex, Kohima. Meanwhile, the Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister, Speaker and other senior officials will also be present in the meeting. Commemorating the 75 years of India's independence, a one-day block-level training for School Management Committee and School Management Development Committee was held at the CYC Hall, Chumukidima, to help improve the academic and overall infrastructure of schools. Notably, the training was organized by District Mission Office, Samagra Shiksha, Dimapur. Notably, the training is being held at a block level whereby 5 blocks are participating. It is to be mentioned that the training is scheduled to be held in Newland on Friday, followed by Dimapur on Saturday.
American SMTC one-day training tiado main purpose to American Judice. Karni be ekta ase ki karni edo teacher kan tai kan to training attend koribo hole bi fill up time te dusra banu para kuriya para district planning state planning to phal para na pare para aji SMTC kan matigna ami kan itu jutais to training tingna kina wigna amikhan idu planning district state phal pra plan kurina school de infrastructure karni toilets kan নহলে বি academic development karni amikhan itu karni training tiche aro dusra khan bi out of school bacha khan school na cha khan tu tadi definition to sai shukule any student who were absent for 45 days without informing the school head they are considered as out of school children inaga hobra idu kina huigna bacha khan school na cha khan anigna aro mainstream kuribo lage koigina amikhan itu bi training ti ase tadido SMC SMTC member khan tu taikhan rule bishi play kuribo lage ase survey chaidam de taikhan phal pra itu format de fill up kuri tigna itu hisab de bacha khan anigna itu school de admit kuribo lage koina amikhan taikhan ki koise aro out of school to itu under right to education 2019 de children can from 6 to 14 years of age itu kan do taikhan right ase aro 2020 de not only from 6 to 14 years of age but also from 15 to 18 years itu kan sob include krigna ase itu bacha khan sob anigna aro school de mainstream hobo lage koina government policy
A dead body of a non-local male aged approximately 50 to 55 years was found lying near the railway tracks of Dimapur at kilometer 260.01, following which an inquest was conducted over the body, and on completion of all legal formalities, the body was shifted to District Hospital Dimapur morgue for post-mortem examination and identification. It may be mentioned that the deceased was wearing brown shirt, white jacket, blue jeans, and furthermore, the office of the Commissioner of Police, Dimapur, through a notification mentioned that the claimant or the relatives of the deceased were hereby requested to contact GRPS at the contact number 70850-55021. Nagaland Kabaddi Association on Thursday organized its 4th State Kabaddi Championship for both boys and girls for senior and junior category at the DDSC Stadium, Dimapur. Notably, a total of 11 teams have participated in the two-day event, which has started today and will be concluding tomorrow. Meanwhile, the winners of the event will be chosen to form a state team and play for the state at the different levels.
আজি মই এতে ডিডিএসসি স্টেডিয়াম আছে আৰু এটা হতো 4th সিনিয়ৰ ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰ both boys and girls state kabaddi championship খেলিবলৈ তাহান এতে আজি আৰু কালি 2nd and 3rd মাৰ্চ খেলি আছে তাইবি এদিলা অৰ্গানাইজাৰ্ছ লদে একটা দুটা কথা সুধি লও
আমি খান ইয়াতে নাগালেণ্ড কাবাডী এছ'চিয়েশ্যন এইটো ফৰ্ম কৰি কিনা এতিয়াতো 2 years হৈছে আমি খান ষ্টেট গভৰ্ণমেণ্টে ৰেজিষ্টাৰ্ড কৰি কিনা দেন আমি খান মোটিভছ এম এন অবজেক্টিভ তলিতো নাগালেণ্ডে আমি খান ইয়াংষ্টাৰ খান প্ৰমোট কৰোঁ বুলি কওঁ আৰু এইটো 4th টুৰ্ণামেণ্ট লৈ আছে আমি খান এতিয়া ইয়াতে ডিমাপুৰতে তো আমি খান আগি দি যাই কিনা আমি খান লগা পাজা খান বি ইয়াংষ্টাৰ খান বি নেশ্যনেল ডে পাৰ্টিচিপেট কৰিব পাৰিব লাগে এইটো আমি খান লগা এম এন অবজেক্টিভটোত আছে আজি আমি খান নাগা মানুহ বি আজি গ্ৰাউণ্ড দিয়ে বহুত বয়জ এণ্ড গাৰ্লছ এইটো নাগা মানুহ হ'লে নাগালেণ্ড লগা পাজা খান বেছি আহি কিনে পাৰ্টিচিপেট কৰি আছে আজি টোটেলি 11 টিম পাৰ্টিচিপেট কৰি আছে তো আমি খান এম এন অবজেক্টিভ প্ৰমোট কৰোঁ বুলি তো ইয়াংষ্টাৰকে কিনা অনেক স্পৰ্টছে প্ৰমোট কৰিব এইটো লগা আছে নাই খালি উইদিন নাগালেণ্ডে আছে আমি খান লুক ফৰৱাৰ্ড কৰি আছে আমি খান ফাৰ্ষ্ট তলিতো আমি খান নৰ্থ ইষ্ট কাবাডীটো আমি খান নাগালেণ্ডে এক পাৰ্ট হোষ্ট কৰিব এইটো প্লান আছে আমি খান অল ইণ্ডিয়া কাবাডী ফেডাৰেশ্যন টিভি ডিছকাছ বি কৰিছে আৰু আমি খান তাতে বি আমি খান পেপাৰ চব ছাবমিট কৰি কিনে আছে আমি খান ইয়াতে কৰাটো লেভেল আগি যাবলৈ লগা Aru youngster kan tu kami kan saya sih jadi pas selection guru kami kan. Aru ini orang state laga dim buna buat tangan lote na. Ini kan orang tangan ke best of the best abu kami kan ta. Kali kita dim buna nopo lebih sok pas select guru jena. Agi din je kami kan national je kami ke Nagaland state kibi kami kan kibi permission dulu tu privilege disuli tu itu kan baca na represent guru. Kami jadi kami kan laga youngster kan guru munca tu. Aja kami kan itu kami kan Nagaland state TV.
The Northeast Frontier Railways has installed its first ever smart automatic coach washing plant at Kamakhya Coach Maintenance Depot in Guwahati. Notably, the plant having a multi-stage cleaning facility was inaugurated on Wednesday by Anshul Gupta, General Manager of NFR. This system is eco-friendly and provides an efficient and cost-effective technique for outer body cleaning with optimum utilization of water. Currently, coaches were being manually cleaned, which is time and water consuming. The automatic coach washing plant ensures reduce, recycle and reuse principles through its water treatment plant. It uses only 300 liters of water, out of which 80% is recycled water and only 60 liters of water is fresh water as compared to 1500 liters per coach in manual cleaning. Voting for the sixth phase of Uttar Pradesh Assembly polls concluded on Thursday with over 53% voter turnout recorded till 5 p.m. It is to be mentioned that polling is being held for 57 assembly constituencies spread across 10 districts, which includes Gorakhpur, Ambedkar Nagar, Balia, Balrampur, Basti, Deoria and Kushinagar, among others. A total of 2,14,62,816 electorates, including 1,14,63,113 males and 99,98,383 females, while 1,320 third genders are expected to exercise their franchise to decide the fate of 676 candidates. It may be noted that the polling for the seventh phase, which will be the last, will be held on March 7, while the counting of the votes will take place on March 10. A major clash broke out between the workers of the Congress Party and the BJP in Manipur ahead of the second phase of polling in the state. Notably, the incident has been reported from Kakching Kondu in a Kakching district of Manipur. The clash broke out at around 11:30 p.m. on Wednesday night. It may be mentioned that at least 12 vehicles, including two-wheelers, were damaged in the violent clash between the Congress and the BJP workers. The 12 damaged vehicles include 8 two-wheelers and 4 four-wheelers. It is yet to be ascertained on the number of persons who have sustained injuries in the clash. The second phase of polling is scheduled to take place on March 5. The first phase of polling for the Manipur Assembly elections was held on February 28 amid sporadic incidents of violence. The central government has sanctioned a rupees 15 crores for strengthening border trade between Mizoram and its two neighboring countries, Myanmar and Bangladesh. Notably, the Mizoram Commerce and Industries Minister Dr. R. Laltangliana informed that the state legislature on Wednesday that the center is making massive efforts to facilitate border trades at Kojaktwar village in East Mizoram's Champai district along the Indo-Myanmar border. The sanctioned fund will be utilized for the upgradation of infrastructures for the land customs stations such as immigration checkpost animal quarantine station, plant quarantine station, laboratory, renovation of food testing laboratory, weight bridge and warehouse. And furthermore, the fund will also be used for the construction of quarters for officers and staff at the Land Customs Station. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will join a virtual meeting of the Quad bloc on Thursday with the US President Joe Biden, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and his Japan counterpart Fumio Kishida. The last meet was held in September 2021 at Washington, D.C. The virtual summit will provide an opportunity to continue dialogue and exchange views on important developments in the Indo-Pacific. The summit is taking place against the backdrop of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. A list of major tech and private companies have started halting business in Russia. Notably, the music app giant Spotify on Thursday announced its decision to close its office in Russia indefinitely in response to Russia's unprovoked attack on Ukraine. Some of the major tech and private companies to halt their business with or in Russia are Apple, Airbus, Google, YouTube, Boeing, Disney, Exxon, Mobil, Facebook, Ford, Harley-Davidson, MasterCard, Microsoft, Netflix, Reddit, Snap, Twitter, and Visa. Apple has stopped sales of the company's hardware from its online stores across Russia. Moreover, Apple has removed Russia's state new television channels RT News and Sputnik News for download in its platforms outside the country. Microsoft, Google, YouTube and Facebook have also taken action against Russian news channels by blocking the channel's apps and ads on their websites. Disney has announced that all of its films will not be released in any platform across Russia. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Deputy Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov has urged gaming companies Microsoft and Sony to pull out of Russian markets and block Russian accounts. The Japanese government has decided to freeze more assets held by the 4 Russian banks following the European Union's latest financial sanctions against Moscow imposed in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The 4 banks are Russia's second largest bank called VTB Bank, Bank Otkrity, Sovcombank and Novicom Bank. According to the ministry, the banks have close relationships with the Russian government, and notably the move came a day after the European Union said its members agreed to exclude 7 Russian banks from a key international payment network known as SWIFT to disrupt Russian trade and money transfers. It may be mentioned that Suzuki told the media that Japan supports the EU's decision and will firmly implement with other groups of the 7 members. According to the Finance Ministry of the country, Japan's restrictions will be implemented on April 2. Thank you, viewers of Nagaland TV. That's all from NLTV Primetime News. I'm Rinki Gogoi signing off. But for more updates, keep watching Nagaland TV. Sob Manulaga Awas.